What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique. I'm a fight guy and Forbes contributor, and also I write for Heavy.com, and we're talking UFC on ESPN 9. We're powered by Fight TV and presented by Bet Online. And this is the co-main event. Blagoy Ivanov he's ranked number 12, and he's taking on number 13 ranked heavyweight Augusto Sakai. This is an interesting heavyweight fight. Both of these guys, I honestly, if you want to know the truth, I think that Blagoy Ivanov should still be on a win streak. I thought that he won his last fight against Derek Lewis. I thought he got the short end of the stick. If you look at the odds here, it's really close. Sakai is a very slight -114 favorite, but Blagoy Ivanov is -106. So the odds makers are giving both guys some respect. We might see another shift come around about Friday after the weigh-ins to see what happens. Augusto Sakai usually has to cut to get down to 265. Blagoy Ivanov is shorter, so he usually comes in around the 250, 245 mark. We'll see what happens. Blagoy is as tough as they come. This is the gentleman who nearly died after an attack, lost ridiculous amounts of weight, ended up coming all the way back. And I mean, if you watch him fight, you see some of the shots he took from Derek Lewis. These are shots that Derek was knocking guys in the next week with. And he did his own work with the grappling game and with landing some shots against Derek Lewis himself. Like I said, I thought he won that fight. He is giving up a lot of size in this fight, but for him, that's not anything that's too out of the ordinary. Fighting at heavyweight, he pretty much knows he's going to be giving up some length, but he finds a way to get inside. His boxing, I think, is pretty underrated. I think he has a really nice jab. He has pretty good timing, finds the openings to land counterpunches. Now, Augusto Sakai, big, tough, strong Brazilian heavyweight. You look at him, you automatically think, oh my God, you know this guy wants to get to the ground and start working jiu-jitsu. But as a matter of fact, he's never had a victory by submission in his whole career. Everything for him from a finish standpoint has come by way of TKO, and it hasn't been just a few of them. He has 11 TKO victories. He's only 29 years old. For a heavyweight, that's literally like a baby. He could easily have 11 more years or so of performing at a high level as a heavyweight. In his last fight, he knocked out Marcin Tybura in 59 seconds. Before that, he won a close split decision over Andrei Arlovsky, and before that, he stopped Chase Sherman. So, and he had earned his way into the UFC by winning by TKO over Marcos Contrado Jr. on Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series, and that was back in 2018. So he has really earned this spot and earned the ranking, and he is fast rising, a very promising guy. This is one of those fights that makes so much sense because obviously where they are in the rankings, but where they are in their careers overall, right? It makes a lot of sense because Blagoy Ivanov was probably 2 wins away, I would say. If he got the nod against Derek Lewis, I'd have to say he's about 2 wins away from getting a title shot because we're talking about heavyweight division. There's a lot of stuff going on with Stipe and Cormier right there at the top, but he would have, at the very least, 2 more wins would have gotten him in the conversation where people would have had to like literally say, okay, they're ducking this guy because he's right there. But the loss to Lewis, even though it was a tough one, set him back, and now he's taking on a very dangerous guy in Sakai. And this fight is one that I don't know. You're going to have to forgive me. I just cannot imagine anybody knocking Blagoy Ivanov out. He's never been stopped by strikes in his entire career. The only time he ever lost by stoppage was back in 2014 against Alexander Volkov, and that was a rear-naked choke when both of them were in Bellator. But he lost by unanimous decision to Junior Dos Santos, and then, of course, the controversial split decision to Derek Lewis. But since he's been in the UFC, he's 2-2. I mean, it should, like I said, should be 3-1 in my opinion. He's been around for a long time. He's fought some names you probably recognize: Sean Jordan, Josh Copeland, as I said, Alexander Volkov, LeVar Johnson, Rich Hale, Rico Rodriguez. He's fought some guys, Ilir Latifi back early in his career. So he's definitely fought some guys that you would recognize. And I mean, the dude is just, I really, Sakai, I feel like, has to win this fight by stoppage. I just don't think that he outworks Blagoy Ivanov. I don't see that happening. Blagoy just doesn't stop. He puts on pressure, pressure, pressure. And I think that he gets this done. I think he actually hurts Sakai at some point in this fight. I don't know that he gets the stoppage, but I think he hurts him at some point in this fight, and I think he wins it, by unanimous decision. I think he gets the nod from the judges this time. The thing about Blagoy is you might look at him and think, oh, well, his gas tank is probably not great. And trust me, he's not Tony Ferguson. He's not this guy that's going to look like he's in the first round, in the last 2 minutes of the fifth round or the last 2 minutes of the third round. He's not that guy. But he does always seem to have just a little bit more push than the heavyweights that he's facing, even Derek Lewis, at the end of a fight. So I think that right there is what gives him the edge in this fight. I think he'll have a little bit more juice than Augusto Sakai, and I think he gets the victory based on that. It is a slight underdog. I haven't really gone underdog much. As a matter of fact, the odds were out so relatively late for some of these fights, so we haven't been didn't get an opportunity to see some of them. But I'm going with the underdog here. I like Blagoy Ivanov to get this victory by unanimous decision. So if you have not yet liked this video, please go ahead and do so. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that as well. Also, don't forget, if you want to look at the other odds and prediction videos on this card, make sure that you click the notifications card that was up at the beginning of the video, and you can see all of the odds and predictions for this card. As usual, I appreciate you watching. God bless and peace.